So, for those of you guys that don't know me, I'm Raf. Been honored with my 4th year here. We just recently had twins. Well, recently. They're 11 months old now. And it's shocking. So I'm a parent of twins. I'm also a security professional. I claim to be an expert in neither of these. Well, that's interesting. I claim to be an expert in neither of these, although I do think that it's important to learn some lessons, so I'm going to share them with you. So this is about when things got real for me. These are my two little ones. My daughter Isabella and my son Nikolai. They were born in October last year, and we were sort of the epitome of unprepared. We were hoping for a kid. Anybody have kids in here? Anybody have twins in here? Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right? Nobody's ever ready for the Spanish Inquisition, I promise you. So there's some lessons here that I think apply well across the board, right? So I've got a bajillion slides. I'll try to get through these as quickly as possible. So, for example, for capacity planning from the parenting perspective, my wife once said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had twins?" And then these two showed up. All right, it was a fun idea, but I travel, all right, and it's just us. So there's not a whole lot of support in the house, and it's just us. So from a security perspective, security always wants control, but what if we're granted it? And do we have the capacity to handle it? And the perfect example is I used to run a software security group for a major enterprise, and we fought the business long and hard to try to get to be the gatekeepers of apps before they go live. And finally, I won the argument, and the CTO said, "Great, now every app will go through you before it goes live." That sounds awesome, right? So one analyst, 22 releases per week. We don't have capacity to do that. Moral of the story is, now what, right? So we weren't prepared for the avalanche. And seriously, though, plan for capacity when you're talking about InfoSec, especially in the enterprise. This one, I think, will ring true with many people. There's no substitute for experience. Book learning is good. Having a CSP because you can study is awesome. But if you've never done it, you're in a world of pain because when things get real, it's a problem, all right? So when we found out we were pregnant, my wife read every book available. I picked up one or two every once in a while because she sent me the links to them. And so we thought we were ready. I felt like I was a genius. I installed car seats, right? Yeah, exactly. Yes, and then the kids were born. And you find out that this is not the book that did not prepare me for what happens at certain times where, there's times where I said, wait, this wasn't in the book anywhere. Like, what do we do? All right, it's 2 a.m., they're screaming, I don't know what's wrong with them. So in the security world, right, there's lots of experts. Some of them have read books, articles, some blogs, and now you're an expert at it, and it turns out that you aren't. But you put you in the terminal, and this happens. Right? And so this is not in the book. I don't understand. So there is really no substitute for experience, right? Tinker. It will make you better. It will make you smarter, and it'll make you safer, and it'll make everybody better. All right. A lesson about panic buying. From a parent's perspective, right? Early on, we bought everything. Right. Stuff we thought we needed. We bought 2 of everything. So we bought onesies, diapers, toys. And it turns out my son's allergic to one specific brand of diaper. And then, of course, they were put on, because we stocked up on formula, we were put on special formula, which means I had to figure out a way to give away all the stock of formula we had. Right. Cool. What an expenditure waste, right? And then they played with the boxes. That's what my daughter does, right? We give her a room full of toys, all kinds of things with, sensory learning and mirrors and shapes and stuff, and she plays with the box. Nobody warned me that kids play with boxes. I would have stopped buying toys. I would have just bought boxes. Right? We wasted a ton of money. Does this sound like security? Right? When opportunity presents itself, right, security spends like mad. How many of you guys know a CISO that had an incident or an issue pop up, got the opportunity to buy stuff, and bought 2 of everything? Much of it was wasted. It's like, well, we bought 10 WAFs. It's like fantastic. But I know this guy, where one of them was implemented, 4 of them are sitting on a data center floor, but unboxed, and the other 3 are still on the dock. Right? 3 years later. But we're paying maintenance on them. So wasted resources turns out to be a lost trust from the bosses. If you were in the other Kennedy talk in the morning, lost trust is a bad problem for us. Right? So purchase with a purpose. Another one, running on empty. Right? If you're a parent, do I even need to explain this? My daughter is so tired she falls asleep like this sometimes. She was climbing in her I don't know what's little pillow thing, and she passed out like that. We don't get that luxury, folks, as parents, right? As a parent, exhaustion is the norm. You get no break. Again, something else they don't warn you about in all the classes you take as a pre-parent. It's easier to get exhausted and make really bad decisions. Like, we let him, my son, because we were tired, my wife was like, just let him he can hold the bottle, let him hold it for himself. And then she turned around for a second. And then he's spraying the whole room with formula. Excellent. Right? Insecurity, every day is exhausting. Incidents can easily crush you, and it's easy to get frustrated and make really bad decisions. This is called a day job sometimes. Right? Ruin carefully built relationships. It does, indeed. And the practice of this lowers frustration. So practice under pressure. I know it's not easy, but practice. And practice with like lots of pressure on you. People yelling, and that's the best kind of practice you get. Because when things get really hairy and nasty, it's not going to be when you're well rested on a Wednesday afternoon just after lunch. It'll be on Friday or the weekend before you go to DerbyCon. There'll be some massive bug that's available in every piece of software on the planet, and you'll have to go patch it. All right. Patents and repetition. Babies love repetition. It's okay to, right? They love repetition. Repetition is key to mastery, right? We do things, as a parent of twins, we're on a very, very strict schedule. They're up at 7:15. They're down for their morning nap at 8:45. They're up at 11. They're down for their afternoon nap at 12:45. They're up at 3. Their bedtime routine starts at 5:30. They're in bed by 6:45. I mean, we got this down to a science. Anything else is unacceptable because everything else is chaos. And daddy needs bourbon when there's chaos. And then it unravels from there. Patterns aid repetition, and changing diapers at 3 a.m. in the dark. If you haven't practiced this at least once, you will put the wrong diaper on that child, or you'll put it on backwards. And by the time morning comes, well, I'll spare you the details. You've all probably had lunch already. So operations and incidents, right? Repetition, repetition, repetition. Build the patterns, right? Patterns make repetition easier, and repetition is how we scale. Efficiency is huge. And when you have an incident, you don't get the luxury of time. Work on your repetition, which gives you efficiency, speed, and quality. Right? And building repeatable patterns means practice. Practice, practice, practice. All right, so next one. Accident proofing. Who's baby-proofed a house before? Who's baby-proofed an enterprise before? This is not totally different. Let me explain. There's a picture in here you'll all get to laugh at in just a second, but tell me if this reminds you of anything in real life. So our house was definitely not baby-proofed. It costs a fortune, and babies can get into anything. Anybody want to take a guess as what's in that drawer? Undergarments. Oh, yeah. Right? My son decided that he was going to, he's now 11 months, and he can walk by holding on to things, and now things were way up, are now within his reach, and he's learned to open drawers. So the consequences of not properly baby-proofing are disastrous, right? We all know about that. They'll get under your sink, and they'll drink or play with things they're not supposed to play with. Remove the options. Never allow them to give the opportunity to hurt themselves. This should sound like your users in the business, right? You just do this. This is not something you get an opportunity to say, I don't want to as a parent. And in security, you users aren't generally malicious. Sometimes they're bad on completely accident. They want to be more efficient, but since they're not taking their workstation home with them, they'll email that client spreadsheet to their Gmail account. This isn't because they're trying to be malicious. This is because they're trying to be efficient. So you got to oops-proof the enterprise, right? You got to oops-proof your business. Cloud storage collaboration. Any CIO that ever tells me that we don't have private cloud storage problems, is, I believe, delusional. So understand, meet the needs of your folks, your users up front, and then, pay for it later. Implement it or pay for it later when a disaster strikes. Give them safer options, okay? Give them options to do things safely. The next one is communication. As a parent, communication is number one, right? It is very, very important to communicate. When it works, it's brilliance. When it fails, your significant other forgets to tell you that you left their phone unlocked on the floor and your kid calls someplace in Russia or something. And it becomes a very expensive cell phone bill. She figured out accidentally how to FaceTime somebody one of my wife's friends, and so we get a call later like, hey, I just talked to your daughter. I'm like, what? Because yeah, she fired a FaceTime. I thought you gave it to her. I'm like, uh-oh. What did you hear? Right? We've been in that position. Right? With your co-parent, your nanny, your helper, whoever you have, be clear and absolutely deliberate in what you want, what you don't want, what you expect. It's not possible to over-communicate. Trust me. It is possible to under-communicate. Think about it and what's at stake. Right? As a parent, you know what's at stake, your child's health and safety. Well, in the enterprise, security is about, I think, 75% communication in terms of success or failure. Be deliberate and clear in what you say and what you expect. Don't start with scare tactics. Listen more than you speak. Listen more than you speak. Right? Speak clearly and purposefully. And really work hard to remove all the friction that's out there. Right? Work really hard to get people engaged. Effectively communicate because it's absolutely critical, and that's what's going to make you successful. The next one, I think, anybody do incident response here? Anybody do parental incident response here? All right, you'll appreciate this. Freak out when it's quiet, not when it's loud. Right? When the kids are playing in the other room, it's a baby-proof room. I can hear them, giggling and pushing each other over. I can hear every once in a while I hear boom. One of them's falling on their butts, and then it gets quiet for a bit. And then we realize we haven't heard either of them giggle in like a minute and a half. We're like, uh-oh, what are they into? Right? Because new things interest them and they stop. So as a parent, I'm not worried when the twins are loud. I'm worried about when they get quiet. I caught them, you can't see the other half of this picture. I caught them going, my daughter and son were, I'm pretty sure they were trying to figure out how to get to the doorknob to get into the closet. I can't prove that for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what was going on there because she had her hand reaching up. He was pushing her somehow. It's just for 8 and 9 months olds, freaky stuff. So what happened? And why are they quiet all of a sudden? In security, it's apply this to logging and alerting. Right? Our networks have a baseline noise level. When volume drops, you should start worrying. Right? That's when things generally, when they deviate from the baseline. Ask yourself what happened. Too often endpoints just stop reporting, and one day, you start one day with 1,000 devices feeding your SIM, and before you know it, you forget to look for a while. Now there's 7. What happened? It's really nice to say, hey, look, our alert volume has dropped. Wait, it's gotten kind of quiet in this network, right? Systems get hacked, and what's the first thing they do? Right? They wipe all trace, they turn off logging, they turn off all the things that would alert you. So carefully watch for when it's quiet. All right, next one. Ooh, I'm actually cruising pretty good. You guys still keeping up? Everybody awake? Excellent. The next one, somebody has to take over. 5 minutes, I can do this. Parenting is a team sport. You live and die together, right? But you have to have a captain. In this case, it'll be your wife or significant other. Just trust me on this, guys. So multiple inputs, there's one decision maker, and what the team leader says goes. No arguing in front of the kids, discuss later when the time passes and they're asleep. Or in my daughter's case, when she's busy trying to figure out how to escape. This was at 11:45 at night. She went down for bed at 7. She woke up and decided she was going to try to fit her head through the rungs. I've got pictures from the video monitor feed that would baffle you guys. She sleeps with her legs extended, her butt in the air, and her head firmly planted in the sheets. I have no clue how this child does this, but she sleeps like this. My son sleeps sitting. He'll sit and he'll get so tired he'll just fall forward onto his legs and sleep for hours. I don't know about you, but that would break me in half. Maybe it's just age. Anyway, in the security world, incident responders need a leader, right? Take lots of inputs, but only one person makes decisions, and they have to be unquestionable decisions. In the heat of battle, in the heat of a big incident response issue, you can't have 25 people trying to make decisions. One person. Now, they need to be empowered to make an executive decision, and they need to be held accountable in a post-incident review. This is just like parenting, right? You must have an IR leader. I know way too many places that do IR by committee. It doesn't end well. Sometimes it doesn't end. Let's just leave it at that. So, worst case scenarios you didn't plan for. All right? It's 3 a.m. You're tired. You've had a long day. And kid number 1 has what was commonly known in the parent world as a blowout. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's hilarious until you have to worry about it. So I'll give you an example. Had a particularly long day. My son ate everything in sight. We thought he was going through one of those growth spurts. Fantastic. It was the day that we were doing laundry, so we always have 2 sets of laundry just in case, right, for the bedding. We had one of them in the washer, and I had forgotten to put it into the dryer, so it's sitting in there wet. And it's 8 o'clock, and it's too late to put it in because it makes a lot of noise, right? So the other ones, I had no way. We didn't unbox them yet. They were still in the packaging because we hadn't planned for this. And at about 3 a.m., he starts crying. And I flip the monitor on, and he's sitting on his butt bouncing, and he's crying. We're like, okay, well, let's go figure out what that is. I open the door, and it's like being slapped with a garbage truck. It wasn't pretty to the olfactory nerves. And then you take, you kind of unzip the sleeper and go, oh my God, it's up to your armpits, right? Now you got to clean him up, realize there's no sheets to give him to sleep on. You got to manufacture something. Got to wake up my wife. Got to make sure I don't wake up the other twin in the other room. This is incident response on a scale nobody ever expects, right? So quickly assess the situation, all right? Give it a quick assessment, problem solve as a team, work to a resolution. And by the time you're back to sane in the morning, review what you should have done differently. Don't try to review that before you go to bed because you'll be so mad at each other and nobody works well at that time under that kind of pressure. Insecurity, when that one thing that can't fail fails, it becomes a single point of failure in ways you'll never really expect. And have a plan for, there's no plan for this, right? There's a plan that should be someplace that's difficult to write down, but we have no plan for this. All right, it happens when you're not ready. From a parenting perspective, you can't anticipate go time. We tried planning it. It happened at, we ended up going to the hospital when they were being born at a time where we were pretty sure we were safe, right? Sunday church, bad timing. Kids don't get sick on your schedule. You'll run out of baby wipes. At times, you cannot run out of baby wipes, which means we all have now crates of baby wipes in every room in the house, right? Suddenly your baby's standing, gone up and he's standing by himself. Oh, I missed it. That sucks. So massive security incidents happen when everyone is at a conference. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, and preparedness is seriously no joke, folks. Right? Rally as a team. Don't panic. Be pragmatic. Assess, decide, act, and review. And take disasters in stride, because that's the only way to do it. From a parenting perspective, cherish every single moment. The disasters is what really makes life interesting. When you look back at things, you'll remember all the silly, ridiculous, crazy times where you wanted to jump off the roof. But it'll make life interesting for you. Insecurity, look, you'll get breached. You'll detect, respond, and move on. It's just the way the world works. You'll learn from things you did wrong. You'll teach others. Yes, that's my daughter's first laptop at 8 months old. Never take yourself completely too seriously. I love the fact he's got a starfish on his head. And, as parents and professionals, we're no experts, right? But we're okay. I think we turned out well. And I'm going to simply end this deck on the fact that my 8-month-olds at their second round of shots sat down at one of these Epic terminals. Anybody seen these at your doctor's office? Right? Secured terminal. And I just let them play on the keyboard because I figured it's locked, it's secure. That's about 3 seconds before they banged on it and got a DOS prompt. Is there a bug bounty for that? Just kidding. All right, so that's me. Nice and quick, guys. And if you have any questions, was this relatable? Woohoo! Wait till they're teenagers. Yeah. My daughter's allowed to date when she's 30, not a minute sooner.
Hey, Raf, just remember, you don't get in trouble for putting him in the cage. You only get in trouble if they get out. You get in trouble if somebody else knows you're in the cage. Well, obviously, they're not going to get out either. Because they know you don't get in trouble for them either.
Hey, Raf, I'm Dan Strum.
Oh, hey.
SlideShare.
Yes.
Thought I'd introduce myself.
Excellent.
Before that came around.
We've got some interest, so this will be fun.
Excellent.
SlideShare should be a riot.
All righty. Good job.
I'm going to go through.
Dude, that was funny.
That was my goal.
Did you want a shot, or are you now no longer a drinking person in the world? You can take from the
I'm a
bottle.
parent. I
You'll
drink
kill it.
more than I ever used to.
That's Cleveland whiskey. You do have to go online and like their page. It's 100 proof though.
Okay.
You don't want to worry.
What was that?
Shoot wherever you savor it. Feel it, you smell it.
Were you ever at ThoughtCon?
Shut up.
Sorry.
Oh, that's good.
Can you prove that I was there? There is no video.
It's always good.
Yeah, it was a great presentation. I'm not a parent, and I still found it amusing.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Well, we've just decided that we're going to try to keep track of all the ridiculous things that happens at our house. Thanks to the fact that we have kids.
And you can also add in there that folks that are grandparents tell you that it's a lot more fun watching the grandparents.
Yes, my in-law, she likes to say that fun grandma will come over, bring them things, get them all hyper right before bedtime, and then leave because she can.
Yes, I do. All right. Well, I'll see you tonight.
Okay, cool.
So my wife tells me
Are you kidding me?
taken until like.
So they're up there already. You're not even like bring them up. You're just like lining them up. Thanks, dude. You're gonna troll me.
We'll keep bringing up
on the
sets
kitchen
of them,
table.
but we're bringing
blow
up
out.
Sets.
You know that hole in the back?
Yes.
That if you make it too tight, that's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
escape
Yeah,
route.
yep.
Where is it?
Remember, always change it before the 30-pound mark.
Yes.
It says it'll go to 30
Yes,
pounds.
yeah. It's not how much. It's not how much the diaper can hold.
Yes.
Right. The weight is not how much the diaper can hold.
So
And if there's a
her mom
combination
called
of
or
these,
something.
before the-
I'd save millions. I'd have saved millions. So it goes and you push it through, and but anyhow, the phone rang, blowout. I hand the phone to her. Her hands are covered. And put it here. She's on the phone like this, trying to talk to her mom.
Oh,
And I
that's
grab
so
the
wrong.
camera. It's the best
That is
picture we
so
have.
unbelievably wrong.
But right.